Hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you how I turned this into this. No, I'm not going to bring them back to life, but I'm going to show you how to get them into the computer and what I do with them. Oh great, some of these car alarm starts right as I'm about to show you my process. First off, you have to take your photographs of your daffodils, which is always a good idea, or the thing which you're going to. So basically you have to take as many photographs as possible, each from different angles, so that the program can stitch each of your photographs together, because that's what we're going to be doing, turning a bunch, well, about 40 photographs, all of these flowers, all from, oh that's the end, all of these flowers into a three-dimensional virtual object. How fun. So we're using this program called Agisoft Photo Scan, but down here at the bottom you can see all of my photographs which I imported, and now it takes really quite a while, so we're going to be skipping through the long bits, and I've done the whole process already. So it takes possibly about half an hour, but depending on how many photographs you have, possibly longer, to make this, which is the cloud map, point cloud. And so this is, each of these blue rectangles is a camera, well, a camera perspective. So this is each of the photographs, and then what they've done is they've picked out individual points of details which have managed to map on more than 2 photographs. So they've kind of, they've brought them together into this very loose general idea that, well, there's some yellow things there and some white things underneath. The next step is to build a dense point cloud, which looks like this, which looks a lot more like some daffodils, as you can see, but as we get up close it is still an amazing 3D pointillism kind of thing, which I think is very cool actually, and I'd like to do something with these images in their more raw forms like they are here, rather than fully rendered out as a 3D object with shading and stuff. What if I made a piece of art actually exploring these points in space, these point clouds? The next thing is building this texture together with a 3D surface rather than points. So that's what our very basic 3D surface looks like, as you can see there. It's lovely and angular and polygonal. It's polygons. Then we can see it here with a kind of loose colours, and it appears there's been some Phong shading added, which kind of adds these lighter and darker parts to this model that is actually very, you can see how the lighting on here is very angular, whereas here it's all smoothed out. And then finally we have to generate a texture, and each of these processes take half an hour to 40 minutes for my computer to do, but here it is. Wow, it's kind of very weird, looks very photographic, like quite like a HDR photograph, and as you can see here there's quite a few kind of artifacts where the camera's just kind of seen some kind of white surface behind it and thought there was something there. And those parts are really interesting. I mean, the fact that the program has kind of built these. Anyway, the format in which we have to export this as is a .obj .object, because that is what's used by Cinema 4D. So we take it from this program, which is for creating 3D models and photographs, Photoscan, into Cinema 4D. And I've already done a bit here actually, so let's just, that's what it looks like when we first get it into the project. And there we go, and you can see it's white in Cinema 4D, and once again it's got Phong shading on it though, so we can turn this off. Oh, there we go. And see a much more angular version. And I think this looks really, really cool. It's got something digital and very three-dimensional about it. Anyway, what we have to do is, when it makes the object here, daffodils number 4, it also creates a texture which looks like this, which I think looks fascinating, really exciting actually. All these tiny little bits made up of textures of my bedroom, and if you zoom in you really can see surfaces and shadows and really detailed little parts. And basically from this, the program has the three-dimensional model of each of those polygons on that image, and when we drag this texture in, oh dear, we drag it into the project. You can't see, it's just down there. These are our materials. We then take this, drop it on our flowers, and wow, suddenly they've got the texture. And that is this image. This image wrapped around this 3D object using an algorithm. Actually, ooh, crikey, puts it together. And I find that just amazing, just amazing. So in this material we have lots of options, and it's amazing all the things which we can do with this. We can of course take away its colour, we can make it less saturated or darker, that's just using the colour. There's things such as luminance, which makes it give off light out of its surface. Transparency, of course, makes it see-through, but it hasn't rendered it, but it would do. And you can give it refraction here, which is the light bending properties of glass and crystal and water. And I find that really exciting because, well, hey, I really like crystals. Reflection, of course, shiny like a mirror if you want it to be. Bump gives it a texture which light reflects off of, which can really sell something as looking like a piece of wood, looking like a piece of glass, metal, whatever. Other ones, and then specular is the only one which is automatically ticked apart from colour when you first make something, and it gives us that sheen. But it's a very fakey sheen. It's a bit like plastic. But with this you can change the way in which this shininess works, and I quite like it when it's a bit like this, as if it's actually glass, because glass has a very sharp fall off of the way in which the reflections come off of its surface, because it's smooth, and so light doesn't get scattered around so much, whereas with a lot of matte, well, all matte surfaces have microscopic bumps on them. I've learned a lot of this just through YouTube videos actually, and watching tutorials, watching people, and that's the only way you can really learn it. But it in a virtual world which is imitating a real world, you actually really learn a lot about the way in which real objects work, so that you can imitate it but then break it. Because what's the point of having this simulation for real things if we can't make fake things, right? I think that's what I'm so interested in, because some people look at, especially artists, friends at college, they look at it and they're like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not real, it's fake. And I totally agree with people, and I can see the huge attraction to real things. But there's something for me which is really exciting in making the unmakeable, I suppose, and having to exercise your own imagination to make it real. I mean, you can see it and it's kind of behaving like the real world, and our own minds have the power to at least imagine that it's real. Be like, hey, I can see this, and I can imagine myself being there. Anyway, we've got 2 lights set up here, because it's far better than just one light. If you're a photographer, you'll know that. We've got a subtly orangey one. You can't really see that, but it's down there, the colour and all the settings for our lights over there, and that's actually the angle at which the light was coming. I had 2 lights when I took these photographs, one coming through my window at sunset, and a spotlight from my bedroom, which is very white, so that's why the other light is white, and from the angle at which my bedroom light is from, just to give it some realism. Right, anyway, enough talking, let's render it. This takes a while. It can vary, it really can vary. Oh dear, camera's not picking it up very well, and that's because it's very dark at the moment. The computer right now is working out the irradiance, which is the kind of, or at least in this they call it irradiance. I'm not sure it's the right word, but they kind of measure the glow that bounces from surface to surface of light, and that's what gives you global illumination. And that is just where there might be a light around the corner, but it still bounces off of surfaces and gently lights up your room. So even if there's a point where a light source isn't on, it's not going to be completely black in our render. Anyway, as we can see, the computer is very happily producing our image, rather excitingly. And here we can see all of these shiny bits of the specular, and you can just generally see that a render is really quite high quality, really captures something and can look very sexy, but that is only if you use the right settings, and I've got the right settings set up. I need to talk about that in another video, possibly this one, but I think it's dragging on a little bit and I feel like we should just end it now. I should go and eat my lunch. But here we can see it with a different kind of shininess on the surface, and here we can see it with no reflection on the surface, and different camera angles, of course. I'll cover all of that in another video though. This is about from real. Here we are. Here's my real but very, well, quite dead now daffodils, and here's what we turn them into. Nice, fresh, shiny, brand new, and ready to be manipulated, to be warped, and for its material properties to be changed. I mean, we can clone it infinitely. Now that it's digital, we can do so many things with it. Right, anyway, that's that. Thank you very much.